Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Julia Konopka-Żujerczuk. I'm Deputy Director of the National Library. On behalf of mine, but also PhD Tomasz Makowski, who unfortunately couldn't make it, I'd like to welcome you today here at our venue at the National Library. We are so happy that the conference Wheel the World, Eye on the World is hosted right here, and we are also happy that we can host a festival, Mały Koneser. I wish you fruitful discussions, fruitful workshops. Once again, hello, ladies and gentlemen. And I am Magda Kłos-Podsiadło on behalf of the organizer of the conference, that is Publishing House Wytwórnia. I'd like to welcome you here. It's the very first day of the conference devoted to children's books, Mały Koneser, Little Connoisseur. And today we have a special day for professionals. And I'm so happy that so many of you have made it with us. We have librarians, people working at schools, publishers, as well as those of you that promote readership. This is what we all have in common, books for children and teenagers, and that will be the main topic of our conversation today. However, this project wouldn't be possible without our partners, that is, individuals thanks to whom we have been able to make it. It's because of the trust of the National Library, the City Hall of Warsaw, but also the publishing houses that you're going to meet today. It's because of them that we can meet here. It's Tatarak, Widnokrąg, and our dear international guests from Italy, Topipittori, and MeMo from France, and Baobab from Czechia. This event is part of a European cooperation project that is happening also in France, Italy, the Czech Republic, and today in Warsaw. The name of the project is Eye on the World, and the coordinator of the project is Lise Martin. In just a moment, she's going to share with you what events have already taken place, what the whole project is about, so that you get a broader picture. I do hope that after several hours spent here at the National Library, you will feel inspired, you will be enriched with new knowledge on books for children. You will know more about us, so that we all will be enriched in the end, also including new contacts, new ideas, what else we could do in the future. So I'm officially opening the conference, and Lise Martin, please join me at the stage. And in the meantime, some housekeeping. You have access to headsets so that you can listen to translation. Channel 1, this is where you can listen to the Polish language. Channel 2 is English. The discussions will be held in English. So just to be safe, don't put the devices into the pocket because there is some infrared technology involved.
So I'm Lise Martin. I'm the coordinator of this big project, The Eyes of the World, and I will introduce it with some slides to explain what is it about. Maybe I will sit. So, as Magda says, it's a European project made with 4 partners, which are there, and will present a discussion after me. So it's in France, L'Œil du Monde with the French publisher MeMo, in Poland, Wytwórnia with Oko Świat, in Italy, L'Occhio del Mondo with Topipittori, and in Czech Republic, Oko do Świata with Baobab. So the project is supported by the European program Europe Creative, which part is of European Commission. And it started like 1 year ago in France and will end at the end of this year in 2024. But we hope that it will last forever for children and for professionals as you are, librarians and publishers. So it's maybe sometimes difficult to sum up this big project, but we created a baseline with simple words to explain what is it about. It's about childhood, books, of course, and also libraries, because we consider that libraries are places where the access to culture is free, is very important. So we want, through this project, to focus on library and to stress these beautiful places of culture and books, and to create this mix of culture with a publisher from another land, stranger publisher for the library that adopt the partners. So yeah, it's kind of a recipe that can be reproduced all over the world. So the first step of the project was, comes to the mind of Christine Morault, the publisher of MeMo. She imagined the project with her friend publishers from all over the world, like 40 continents represented. It's 12 publishing houses of youth literature, and they are linked and have strong relation between them through the Bologna Book Fair in Italy, the most the most important fair of children's books in the world. And each year, Christine met their friends, and it came to his mind to link them with libraries. So they are, as I said, children literature from Europe, from Spain, from Rwanda, Bakame, Baobab in Czech Republic, and they are linked with some shared values, like to be independent. They don't belong to a franchise. They are a small company with 2 or 3 people work in, and they made own creation with beautiful books. That's our opinion. And I'm so sorry because I forgot MeMo between Magicon and One Stroke. But Christine will tell all about MeMo after. So yes, it's 12 beautiful publishers gathered around this project. And last one, Wytwórnia, of course, and Topipittori. So that's the first step, to create a network all over the world through books. And after, we of course want to involve libraries. So each partners gathered libraries from here in Warsaw, in Tabor, in Bologna, and in Nantes in France to adopt publishers. So the first step was to connect with this publisher, to know their catalog and know their books. So they bought like 50 books, each libraries, or a network libraries in the city. And they also, there is, I think, 70 libraries involved through these 4 countries. So it's a lot of librarians and libraries to discover those books. Some are original, they are not translated yet, so it was unique to discover some books of foreign countries. And after this development of collection, they made plenty of action, of mediation, of cultural action, like workshops. You can see some picture of Czech Republic, of France here in the middle, and in Warsaw here, with to stress some books, to stress an artist, to stress a tool, an artistic tool, and of course to stress foreign culture, like Sweden there. And they made plenty of workshops. And discovering for children, it was a way to discover a language also through readings. Here it's a festival in France, so it was settled last year in April and March, and we made exhibition. You can see a small cabin to listen to original stories in their own language, and yeah, plenty of readings for young child. It was workshop for like 6-8 years old. So it was a way to discover culture and to have practical access to this artistic universe. And the third step of this project is the cooperation between publishers, of course, and librarians through workshop. Here in Warsaw, there was a workshop just for librarians, and also in Italy, you can see there. It's very important to first involve librarians through formation, to emphasize knowledge and skills with to choose books, to understand what is the language of the illustrator. So it was a good start, and it will be also a tool to reproduce some workshop as Maya Bongrand here in Italy. As the librarians are now trained, they can do workshop by their own for children and for their public in libraries. So, and here we are through meetings and professional day to discover each other, publishers, and a way to function with libraries. So yes, it was the 3 steps of this project, and we hope that in last year maybe it will be another project, maybe in Rwanda or in South Korea. They are interested to have their own version of L'œil du monde, and we hope that links are settled between those professionals of books, and that, of course, children, we know that more than 10,000 children affected by this project through the 4 European countries. So we hope that it will rest, it will stay in their own development, own culture, and it's of course to insist about the importance of literature for children and for encourage readings among this public. And I didn't say, maybe you notice that little character through this project is from Kitty Crotter, the Belgian illustrator, which is our godmother. So we are very proud of this. And yes, we hope that maybe it will give you ideas to settle mediation action through this project, and that you'll be interested in. Thank you for your attention, and I will let Christine, Paolo, Magda, and Tereza come for a discussion.
Dzień dobry Państwu.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to the conference Eye on the World. And I am very happy that I can welcome here the representatives of 4 independent publishing houses who make the pillars of this project. And let me introduce those persons. First, I will read it to make sure I do not miss any detail. France, represented by Christine Morault, and she is the author of the project L'Œil du Monde, but also the founder of the MeMo publishing house. And since 1993, she has been publishing high-quality titles for young readers and or art lovers, including in new editions of famous picture books. And the first edition of the project Eye on the World took place in March 2023. Then we have Paolo Canton from Topipittori publishing house, which specializes in books, illustrated books for children. Currently, it has around 350 titles in its catalog. Czech Republic, represented by Tereza Horváthová, who is the editor, publisher, translator, and writer. She co-founded the Baobab publishing house, specializing in books for children. In 2011, she initiated and organized the first edition of Tabuk Festival, international event for small independent publishers. We also have the Polish pillar of the project, Magda, Kłos-Podsiadło, editor, publisher, co-founder of Wytwórnia Publishing House, and co-organizer of the conference and the Mały Koneser, Small Koneser Festival, which takes place tomorrow and after tomorrow. Wytwórnia was nominated 2 times for international award of publishers, an international first in Bologna, and but I think that other guests also are familiar with this distinction. So we are in good hands when it comes to children literature.
We decided on, and I'm very curious because we have this international group here, and I would love to ask you about your local markets. What are your audiences? What are the differences between the countries that you work from? Can we start with you, Tereza?
Local audience. So yes, we are from Tabor. It's a little city, like 20 times more little than Warsaw, maybe.
So it's very local.
It's very local. And from the beginning, because we moved from Prague, we tried to work with people to connect like our audience from Prague and big cities and region. And it's maybe special, a bit special, because you know, first we moved to a little town, Bechyně, which is not far away from Tabor. And first thing we did was a little festival, because we thought that it would be good to show our work to our normal audience, but also to people who are living with us in Bechyně. And it was a beginning of all our festivals we do, because we are also organizer of big festival Tabuk, which now it's a festival of small independent publishers, which we had like 10 times, then 2 years we stopped, but now because of Œil du Monde, because of Oko na świat, we restart. So that's it. Connect is our public is from both parts, you know. So we try to work with them personally, by festivals, by meetings, by speeches, by us.
And you, Christina?
Thank you. I don't really, I mean, we are a local little publisher. As very often I say, we are just like goat cheese producers. And we try to keep this craftsmanship, small size of the team, and also to try to not to follow what everybody does nowadays. It's to produce more and more and more, and one day you just find out that you are producing something that is not at all what you had dreamed of. So this is maybe what links us, and this is what I wanted to do with this project, is to have people know that they can choose between the small producer of carrots or the big international company using pesticides and poisons. And I think maybe bad books for children are like a poison for their brains, because it's always with the same cliché and very poor imagination in text and images. But there are many small publishers and many small producers. So I wanted libraries to know that they could rely on these people. And this is how I understand local when you asked if we had something local. Well, it's a word local company. It's the company of people believing in intelligence and art for children being a big part of their lives. And you are all here together today to witness this idea. I know that's what you do every day with children. So that's local, but it's global.
That's a beautiful thought. And Paolo?
Okay. I won't say there's anything local in Topipittori. We started 20 years and 6 weeks ago, this publishing company. And from the very beginning, we knew that we would be able to survive only if the dimension of a market was international. So we started producing books, making books, creating books, with the idea of having a worldwide market, which we could not reach by ourselves, but we had to work together with other publishers, selling the rights or selling the books or sharing ideas. And we also are not catering on the creation market only in Italy. I think we work directly with artists, authors or illustrators from a dozen of countries in the world, from Bulgaria to Japan. And I think the reason of this is that we do share a common language, and the language is picture book. And it's a language that grows grows from a soil, which is our own different languages, but then the orthography and the grammar for this language are common. And this is what allows us to have something like, well, with Christine, pushing the thing, having something like this going all over the world, all over Europe, and in the future all over the world, because we do speak the same language, even though our idioms are not the same. The second thing which I think is very important about our publishing company, and again, not exactly local, but more national, is that when we started, there was no market for picture books in Italy. I think it's more or less the same situation that there's in Poland right now, or maybe 5 years ago. Just a few small independent publishers doing some beautiful books, but no market. And in order to develop that, we had to talk to adults, because you have to realize that between the book and the children, there are always adults in between, doing the mediation between the children and the books. And that's why we started to talk a lot, or write a lot, to everybody who was in between, like librarians, booksellers, parents, and people doing reading promotion. And that's the very important part, because you don't need to teach this language of picture books to children, because they knew it by instinct. They know it by instinct. They don't need anybody to explain anything. We just have, we adults, to understand that language and learn how to use it to be on the same playing field as children we are supposed to give the books to.
Magda?
Ja tak trochę zrozumiałam inaczej.
I think I understood your question a bit differently when it comes to the local character, because we have certain things in common, like independence, size of our companies, and certain publishing philosophy to treat our audience as partners. But each of us functions in a completely different country with different economic environment. I will refer to what Paolo said. We also had a similar situation around 20 years ago, that our market for children's books was very poor and of a bad quality. And suddenly, small publishers became popular, creating literature for children, and they wanted to change it. They knew that in the 60s and 70s the market was completely different, and real artists were creating books for children. 20 years ago, we were not, we didn't even know that we were actually issuing picture books. And this phenomenon, the definition, appeared later, and we are still actually discussing how to call those books in Polish. But we wanted to create books which were better. And at that time, myself, and the publishers here, they are the role models. When I look at their catalogs, I am really impressed, and I'm always surprised how it is possible that they are able to function for so many years, sell those books. Maybe part of you, those books are presented in the hall. This is just a small fraction of what we could bring here. Most of them will be available at the Koneser Festival tomorrow. But this seems to be still an unattainable goal for me. I am trying to issue, and I think that we are determined for those books to be refined, sophisticated, and ambitious, but at the same time for everyone. But this is still difficult. We are also in an interesting situation. We discuss a lot about the book market, about the system, about a fixed price, and the need for a regulation about books, the protection of a book, because it's a cultural good. It's not a product like every other. But maybe I'm talking about too many topics at the same time.
I only want to say that we, as Wytwórnia Publishing House and other publishers here, we hope that we will have such conditions that will allow us to be like those other publishers that we have here. And I hope that you will also reveal us some secrets. How do you make it to be so successful? And I really hope for that in this discussion.
Inspired me to go deeper into conversation with you ladies, because there's this question of being local, this craftsman, but also to try to go global, try to open yourself up to other markets. For example, through Bologna Fair. So you are trying to connect maybe with other publishers to create some net, and this may help you grow up and survive.
We founded Baobab not in 2011, but in 2000, and so it's been 25 years almost, or it was 1999. And when we started, we just did 3 books by year, you know, and we even didn't know what we do. I think we just wanted to give work to our friends who were artists and who couldn't find work in this time because with all those changes, which you know from Poland, it was horrible because big houses produced just shit, you know. So we did it just for fun, for our children, for us, and there is no any recipe than to do like books which are good and work with people which you trust, you know. And so first, when we came to Bologna, I came there. It's incredibly big, you know. You go inside and you see all those halls. Like how many halls is there? 5 halls. With thousands and thousands of editors, and also very much of shit. And you see it, and you are asking yourself, what I'm doing there, here, yeah, because I am little editor who is working with little authors from a little country, you know, and you are there and you say, oh no, what I will do there, you know. And suddenly, in 1 year, 2 years, you see that the world of good editors is very small. It's like village, you know. You meet each other in Bologna, you say hello, and you know that it's your word, you know, because it's what it's between us, that we work with good authors. We try to be open to many possibilities, how to do books, how to create books, how to speak by books to children, you know. So this open mind is the most important, I think, and yeah.
Yes, it is. I can remember first time that I went to Bologna. Some friend of mine, Olivier Douzou, who is also a famous writer and illustrator, said, so let's imagine that children publishing is just like one big swimming pool. And then you have friends in a bucket. And then you have the bigger companies in France, and they have a small bucket. And we are only not even a drop. We are just like steam, you know. And that's what I really felt when I went there also first time, because it's a business like another. You see these business people, you know, very serious in tie and suits, and sometimes you think, what are these people caring about children publishing. They could be in, I don't know, selling maybe harvesting machines or something like that. And then you, just as she said, we meet, we stroll around with, you know, Walt Disney and every kind of, because the word of children publishing is what you call, you know, it's these big characters that are bought by many countries and many publishers to make, I don't know, small bags and everything for children that is not a book. So you stroll around and then you meet these books and you meet the people. And for years we've been doing that. And I was saying to the director of Bologna Fair that she could also invent a new concept that was born in Bologna. Because I told her that many of these good things we are doing now and this project is born in Bologna. It's been raised in Nantes, my city also after, but it's born in Bologna. So what I mean is that even in a globalized world, we have been able to find our brothers and sisters. Like when I see her, when I see him, I'm so happy because it's not only friends, it's also, should I dare to say it in Poland, comrades, you know. And these comrades, we have been also publishing books together, selling. I'm going to publish several books by Baobab, and we've been working together for a long time. And this is the aim of these small houses. It's to last. And it's not the less difficult thing to do because create a publishing company is very easy. To last is not very easy. That's the point.
And I would love to point out and remind Christine that I usually wear a suit and a necktie.
Yes.
Nonetheless,
he's our Italian aristocrat, and we like him like that.
When I was very young, I used to work for an art book publisher, which was famous all over the world because of his very expensive books. And the first time I went with him in Frankfurt, which is the first book fair in the world, founded in 1484, so less than 30 years after the printing was invented, and was international already there because we have documents of books leaving from Venice, which was the main printing center, to Frankfurt every year. And it's huge. I mean, Bologna is big, Frankfurt is 3 times bigger. And it was the last day and everybody was packing things up and everything started to look empty. And he told me, can you imagine next week this place will be full of shoes? And that was illuminating for me because we are not doing something a lot different than making shoes or making wine. Well, wine is a better example.
Depending
because
on the
it
shoes.
has an action on the mind. And the idea is we are not on the market. I don't know in Poland if wine is common or not, if you drink more beer or wine, but in general, in Italy, which is a wine country, or in France, the best sellers of wines are in the Tetra Pak thing, and you pay, let's say, €2 for 1 liter. And it's not doing you very good. And you have all sorts of qualities, etc. But if you do what French people call the grand vin, the great wines, you devote your life to details and to all sorts of studies and marketing, and you know that you're going to sell. There are not enough French people to buy your Bordeaux, or not enough Italian people to buy your Amarone. And you have to go all over the world trying to sell your wine, and you're doing a completely different thing from those who do the cardboard box wine. But there's a big difference which makes book very special in comparison with any other product. That is, the books Christine does, which are the best in the world, the book Tereza does, which are second best in the world, the book Magda does, which are third best in the world. Okay. They do not cost more to buy than the cardboard box wines, the standard mass market Walt Disney things. And that's a privilege and a burden at the same time for us who do the books, because it's not less expensive producing those. We have different costs, a different cost structure. We don't have to spend a lot of money in marketing, advertising, etc. But we are able to offer the best for the same price, or maybe a little more, than the, let's say, mass-marketed products from American multinationals. And I think this is part of what makes our work very interesting and rather difficult.
There are two questions here, because first one is like how we all know in which situations we drink wine. We need that. We want this. There's social situations, for example, but how to create the need to read these books, to have time for that, to have attention for that. And second, I'm not sure if in Poland or in the case of Baobab, it's the same with the price. This is not the price of the cheapest wine. Maybe it's more expensive, and how to work with that. Maybe Magda, you can say something about it.
Let me get back to Bologna for just a second before I answer your questions, okay? I actually recommend everyone to go to the Bologna Fair at least once in your life to get immersed in that swimming pool that Christine mentioned. After all, you can meet them people from across the whole world to see the books, to meet the publishers from all over the world. So this is where you mostly purchase actually rights to translation, for example. It's different in Poland, where people really go there to buy books. Let me say one thing. I believe in the year 2005 or 6, I went to the Bologna Fair for the first time. And we had just a little shelf on a Polish stand with 3 books, maybe 4, but no more. 2 of them were Janusz Stanny. This is a Polish title. And it was incredible. We were so lucky that Christine Morault from MeMo actually saw these books, and she instantly purchased the rights to these books. And then they were published in French by MeMo. So to me, this was just incredible. I had no idea back then how one does this internationally. I had no idea how one purchases rights and so on and so forth. So I was so lucky to have met her there. And I'm so happy that we had these books with us, and we thought, let's check whether these books could be interesting to international audiences. Because indeed, even though we are small publishers, we are looking for similar partners across the world, and it's really quite successful. You probably realize that Polish children's books, especially picture books, are translated into many languages across the world. And there are many successful publishing houses that do it. So this is a great exports product of Poland, I would say. So we should be aware of that. Talking about culture, sometimes people ignore this fact, and we really are very successful. It's the Polish publishers that we own this success too. So we are doing much better with books than with wine, don't we? Yes, that's true. I actually forgot your question now. You asked about the price, right? Yes, I said that actually in our country it's different because these prices are quite higher compared to mass products. Well, the situation in Poland is a bit absurd. For many years now, I think it's due to distributors, but we must have given our permission. That is, cheap books are the king, and so books should be cheap, and only later do people look at other characteristics. That's so sad. And yesterday we went to Bullerbyn bookstore. It's a little brick and mortar bookstore led by Mr. Grzegorz, who always has the best books published in Poland. And we concluded both that it's just absurd that a book for children with a certain price on the cover on the day of debut can be cheaper by 40% if you buy it online. So really, the situation is hard to understand right now. People don't think about the fact that actually this book is like the worth of 2 coffees at a cafe, right? Hopefully it will change one day. Some people have different views on that. I believe we need to do a lot of lobbying work by some wise people who will be able to sort it out better, to sort it out the book market in Poland from scratch. Hopefully the new Ministry of Culture, Education and Finances will create favorable conditions.
We have the same situation in Czech Republic. It changed a bit because now we have 0 VAT for books. But what does it mean? I mean, is it really good for us? I'm not sure because, 0 VAT, it's for everybody from whole publishers from Czech Republic. So also for big publishers who are producers of many books which are in the market, 6 months. Like, it's like bread or something, so they produce, then they sell, and then they put it to levné knihy, what's the term? Like to those shops where you can buy it for nothing, So, but I don't know if it will really help us, I think that the problem is that we have not fixed price for like publishers, and it would be great. And we try to do something with this, but it's very hard because in our countries capitalism is something saint, So to do something against those big companies, it's against capitalism, and capitalism is still, the first thing in post-communist countries, I think. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a very important point because we have a fixed price in France, and it's very important for bookshops, for instance, and we have a big amount of small independent bookshops in France. But the problems remains the same because what happens is that there is very important amount of young illustrators, because we haven't spoken about illustrators and authors so far, and they don't live with what they do, because even if they have 2, 3, 4, or 5 publishers, they do 2, 3, 4, 5 books a year. These books are produced by publishing companies. They are in the bookshops, and 2 months after or 3 months after, the book is not there anymore. Either it has been sold, which is the best solution, but most of the time it's like a big flush, in the toilets. It keeps on producing water and keeps on flushing water. And we have been doing something very, very difficult since the beginning. Something our banker says we shouldn't do is that we don't throw the books. Even the books that come back from the bookshops with a little thing, almost nothing, but cannot be commercialized anymore, we give it to associations, we give it to schools, we give it to all kinds of different projects. Even an international project called Biblionef, who sends our books all over the world. But all this has a cost, because it's very, very risky for a company to have stocks, huge stocks. We have huge stocks. It's not good, and it's expensive also to pay people to keep these stocks.
Sorry, Christine, do you pay VAT from the stock? Because we have to pay VAT for books that we have in the stock.
Of course,
every year. Yeah. So it's expensive.
Of course, it's very expensive. It's much wiser and more intelligent for companies to keep on throwing and taking new books and throwing them and keep on taking new books. But it has a very bad effect on the illustrators and authors, because after a few years, this book doesn't exist anymore. Even somebody very important in artistry of book told me once, it's Beatrice Alemagna, Christine, I have half of my books that are dead, because no other publisher will take them again, because it has been sold already. They think that it's not worth doing it. So this is why librarians, all professionals of children publishing are so important. I don't say it because you are here. I keep on saying it for 30 years, that only you can do the difference and say, okay, this is a ready-to-throw-out book. We are choosing these books by small publishers. Well, you have very good books also by big publishers. It happens. But they have this eye and this will to choose. Because then maybe we can keep on doing this very uncomfortable sport of keeping books for years and years and selling 10 copies a year, which is what happens for some of our stocks. So this is the same situation for countries where you have a fixed price and countries where you don't have a fixed price. It's even worse when you don't have a fixed price. But internet has made this very thing to happen, that even in our country, you publish a book, and on Rakuten or Momox, which are platforms, next day, as she said, you have it 20 or 30% lower, saying that it saves the planet because it's second-hand books. But it saves the planet, but it doesn't save creation, and it doesn't save the very people that make these vegetables and fruits. Because if you say, okay, we are going to buy it second-hand, so that it doesn't spoil paper and everything, well, you kill also the creators of this, because they have almost nothing on these sales. It's the same thing for music, same thing for many things. There are always people to tell you, no, it's so we can share with more people, but the reason is to make more money. This is the only reason.
So I think up till now we have, let's say, talked to each other and let you hear. But I think most of you are librarians. Maybe there are some booksellers, and maybe there are some book creators. And I think if we start to talk to you now, we have to figure out not what you can do for us, but what we can do for you. And I think the situation that Magda depicted of the Polish book market is very interesting, because she said the most important thing is that the book costs nothing. If it's €1 is better than €2. Oh, you have different currencies. So if it's 10 zloty, it's better than 20. Even though even 20 is a very small price. But we have to figure out, and we have to make other people understand that there's a difference between a book as a consumption item, so the one you read and then throw away, and the book as an investment good. English language is, in this circumstance, very clever, because it uses the word good, which is both to mean merchandise, items to be sold, but also something which is good. So is this an investment good? And how can we help you understand which are the investment goods where is important to put your money? I say your money because as librarians, you also do buy millions of books every year. And you spend money, which is not your own money, but it's public money, it's everybody's money. So I think that you should ask us, publishers, especially the one among us who are more interested in this development of the book as an investment item, an investment good. What can we do to help you let the people know and be aware of this difference? I think there will be time to discuss this later on, but I think you should ask every day one publisher, tell me why you're doing this. Why is it that expensive? Can we make it less expensive? In a way, in Italy, for our company, there's a paradoxical thing. We have two main collections of books. One has the trademark Topipittori, and the other one has the trademark Mini Topi, so small books, which are exactly the same as the big books, but smaller. And they cost more or less half the price. And we selling those low-price books is a pain. Nobody wants them. Because they think, after 20 years, they think it's not worth the investment. It's better to keep the bigger one, which you can share easily with your children, with your pupils, with your customers, as we can call the people who come to the library, than buying the small one, which is half the price. Because it's smaller, it's something, and I think I don't mean just our publishing company, but a group of publishers from Italy, all of them born between 1999 and 2004, worked a lot in communicating, in explaining to librarians, booksellers, creators, parents, where the difference is. And this is the most effective thing you can do to help publishers, with the help of publishers helping you understand where the difference is, what's the grammar of those books, and how you can make better choices with the public money you're spending every year.
Magda, you want to add something?
Znaczy w naszym kontekście chyba też jest ważna sytuacja
Well, in Poland, we need to remember about the inflation rate. Books and other goods are ever more expensive. The same goes for production prices of books. This is what we've been all struggling with. However, in libraries, books are for free. And so people have a growing awareness of this. And you're right that it's important to talk to libraries so that they can take informed decisions. And in the past, I thought as a publisher that I was just creating something beautiful, something which is art, pure art of illustration and literature. Today, however, I need to think a bit different because this is about satisfying my own needs, but I need to think in terms of the benefits for the readers. So it's about me. I need to stop thinking just driven by my own needs. I need to think about the readers. I need to think what these beautiful books published by me could give to the adults who mediate, who read out to children. And I think this is what, during this conference and also other initiatives, this is what we've been trying to communicate to the world, including to libraries, that this is something important.
The needs of readers. Okay. Oh, no problem. How do you see the needs of your readers and how do you address them? And maybe we can go back to my previous question about the encouraging people to create attention span for the books. And
I'm thinking that maybe we never thought very much about needs of our readers.
Okay. Thank you for sincerity.
I mean, we wanted, maybe we just wanted to be sincere. Is it the good word? And so sincerity is something which is very important for me, you know, in creation of books. And I think that if you have an artist and he is sincere inside and he does the book, he creates the book sincerely, you understand me? That the book is usually good then, you know. You have to choose the artist, you have to know with who you work. But I don't know, I mean, I don't want to make books to be beloved by lectors or I don't know. I feel that it's also art. I want maybe to be close to children, to collaborate with children, and I try as editor to find the way how to be close to the young reader, how to talk with him, and how to open him my word or the word of my artist. And that's important. That's maybe also a role of editor, because sometimes, you know, you work with artists you like very much, but to translate his word, it's sometimes difficult. But I mean, I don't care if in the beginning of our career, many people said, oh, those books are bizarre. They are not for children, you know. And I thought that they were for children, you know. And maybe the translation is the word, that you have to translate what you want and what you feel, you know, but not to change your mind. You know what I'm speaking about.
Christina?
Yeah. Well, I think the very wrong thing to do is to think of the child as a customer. So you do these and these colors, not these colors, it's not for children. For instance, we heard a lot that books in black were not for children. It's the opposite, they love it. And what does a great author of books for children is as follows. With its own soul, that is still a child soul, because we all have a child soul inside, he creates for children. And very often when these books are done like that, from their soul of children, it goes also, it's also loved by adults who still have their children's souls, but they don't know of it. And when they read the book, then something different happens. And this is what makes the difference between lousy authors and sincere and creative authors. The first authors create to meet the requirements of a market, and the real authors are creating beauty and sense and philosophy and a lot of concepts that are too wide to be talked about now. And they do it with a very simple idea that is universal and goes right to the heart and to the mind of the people who read it, whatever the age, from 2 to 100. That's maybe kind of a definition.
So finally, after 20 years and 6 weeks, there's something I do not agree with you. So just let's make a couple of steps backward. All these things about art and about emotions and feelings and sincerity and whatever is, if you allow me, bullshit.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, it will become important once we have done these 2 steps. We have done backward, forward. Making a book, what is a book? It's a bunch of sheets of paper stuck together in some way with a cover with written something inside and outside. But it's also a very delicate mechanism. It's like an engine. And it makes, our work as publishers and your work as mediators is to understand how this engine works and if it works well. Every time, I would suggest you an exercise, which is every time you open a book, try to imagine that the page is not 40 grams, so that you turn it like this, but it's 60 kilos. And you have to use both your hands to, and is this effort of turning a 60 kilograms page worth because of the flow of the story? Is the book telling me an interesting story? Is it making me expect something new that is worth the effort of turning the page? And figure out, for example, a child who has no, very strong digital in physical terms ability, and let's say 2 years old. And for him or her, the effort of turning a page, especially if it's not a board book, it's an effort. He has to the fine sensitivities in the tip of the fingers to take and turn the page. Try to imagine if you would arrive to the end of the book if you had to apply the same effort to the turning of a page. We are producing engines. We are producing mechanics, which is very complex because it's made by words, is made by pictures, is made by the support. I mean, the book itself, the quality of paper, the quality of printing, the colors we use, the type of binding, etc. So it's a very complex engine, and it has to work smoothly. I mean, it's the same like a car. You have to jump in, turn the key, and it goes. If you have to think about, I have to push this like the old timers, push this, press the other button, and rummage with the gear shift, forget it. You just have to jump in, and everything is nice and smooth. But the question is, if you have ever seen in the Science Museum here in Warsaw or somewhere else, how beautiful a good engine, a very smoothly working engine is, then we have done these 2 steps forward. You understand what Christine and Tereza and Magda say when they talk about beauty. It's not something which is part of the creativity of the people involved into producing books, into making books. I use the word producing because also the printers are very important in the production process, in the creation process. But it's something which is intrinsic of the book as a collective work. If you take the best illustrator in the world and you just let him or her do that, you probably have a very bad book. There are some exceptions. But the rule is that a book is a collective work. And beauty comes only by smoothly putting together all these things. So now we have done the 2 steps forward, then I agree with you.
I was going to say that your bullshit goes very well with my bullshit. The 2 of them are very well together. I agree with what you say. Just, I think that there is this little touch of magic that is the privilege of the creators, and this is beyond words, because you don't know why. Just like, say, Rémi Charlip said the same thing that you said. He said that each page you have to consider that it's a door. So you open, each time you open a new door. That's why very young children, like 1 month or 2 months old, are already looking at this incredible object that is books. Okay.
I have to add something. You probably are accustomed with Bruno Munari, who was one of the best book creators ever, or at least in the 20th century. And he played very interesting small tricks, like putting a cat in one of his books, which is in the Black of the Night. There's on the right-hand corner of a spread page, half a cat. And you turn the page and you have the other half. And it might seem impossible, but no adult ever realizes that, unless a child says, look at that. Because it's tiny, but it's there. And the quality of the sight of children on a book page has no comparison. Their ability of reading images far surpasses our ability of doing the same.
To ja bym chciała jeszcze do tego.
And I would just like to add, the way I currently think about creating books is that we actually create experiences, because a book is not only about turning pages, which is very important, but this is also the voice of the reader. The touch is the situation where there is the reader, the listener, there is a conversation. What you want to achieve, actually read it to me once again. So I think it's an element of a bigger puzzle. And this thing that we hold on our knees when we turn pages, it's an element of a bigger situation that we want to create, where this young reader is very important. And that's how I want to imagine it. I want this experience to be beautiful, to be remembered, to be important in life, because those illustrations that we see in our childhood, they are deep inside us, and we remember those words, remember this voice. When we become adults, we remember the voice of our grandma who used to sing to us the fragments of the book. I remember the illustrations very well myself, so I want to think about it as an experience of reading, a pleasure of the listening and the touching. So that's how I would summarize it.
Out of time, but I want to ask you about the libraries and your cooperation with them in your countries.
So, we started a few years ago a little project on Baobab website. It was just after, I think that it was just after where we had COVID times, you know, so we had time for it. And so we prepared like field for professionals to come inside our books, and we proposed them like many different possibilities how to ask authors to come to libraries. So they can use list of like matière avec à l'école, qu'est-ce que tu apprends? Courses, like they can see a list of courses like physics, mathematics, history, etc. And then they can see also list of themes. And they can choose what they want speak about with children, because we think that the most important is to teach children by books, and that you can teach children by books. Me, I was a very bad student, and all my childhood I was just reading books, and I think that all I know about the world I know from books. And somehow I passed because of books, because I read, not because I was a good student. And so I think that we can teach by books, and there is few people in Czech Republic who are working like this with books. They call it like thinking by books, and they are going to schools, they are choosing books and going to schools or to libraries and proposing like courses to classes or also to teachers, and propose them how to work with books. But those people, they choose our books, but we didn't decide it. They decide to choose our books. They choose many books from, or few books from few editors, and they do it. But so we did this project, and now, for example, for this project, we it's very concrete things. We thought that the most important is to bring books to those books, not only our books, but books by other editors from the whole world, to regions, to little towns. So for this project, we have like 8 8 twins, one from foreign countries, authors, like one from foreign countries and one Czech, who are going together to a little town somewhere in the north, in the south. And like we are doing whole year, we are doing those little festivals. They bring their books, they bring their illustrations, but also we go there with a bag. We will go there with a bag full of foreign books which were never traduced to Czech, and we will show them also to people, to children, to everybody who will be there. So, like, because you know, in Warsaw, in Prague, we all know which books are good and which are not. But the problem is that in little libraries, in a little region, they have not so much information, and we really need to help them to orient themselves. So, just easy things like this.
How much time we have? Because it's 11 o'clock. I think it's supposed to finish now. Is it? Almost 5 minutes. So I think we have the same experience. We do the same kind of things. I'm not going to repeat. It's exactly the same kind of job. I just wanted, because it's going to end very quickly, to tell you one thing. Now, if you can, if you wish, buy books with foreign languages, any foreign languages, even a foreign language you don't know. That's my experience. When I was a child, my grandmother was British. I had her child book. I didn't understand one word, so I invented thousands of different stories around these images. So please buy books with foreign languages. And second, I wanted, please, to thank Magda, because in this project, Paolo and Magda and Tereza, they really took the project with them, and I'm very, very, very grateful, and I wanted, please, to make a big applause.
Yes, but where would we be without Christine, who when was that? I think that was in 2019, so 5 years ago. She approached me and said, I'm thinking about doing something big in Nantes and all over Europe and this and this and that. And I said, mm-hmm. And then she kept on going and going and going to the European Commission, etc. But the question is, again, how do we work with libraries? In Italy, I think we have a privilege. We have now one, but in the past there were two magazines every 2 months or every 3 months published by libraries. And that for us was very important, because it was a way to understand what were the librarians' needs for us, reading those magazines. And we knew what was going on, and we were able to figure out what the librarians would answer that very simple question I already posed here, which is, what can I do for you? Not what you can do for me. I know exactly what you can do for me, which is promoting the reading, which is making the best books available. It's not important that it is my books. Whenever someone stumbles into a good book, it's something good for me too, even if it's published by someone else. What can we do for you? And what we could do in Italy was, as I said, the picture book is a language in itself, but it's a language we don't know. Tereza said, when we started, we didn't know what we were doing. And I think we shared this experience. We all shared this experience. It was a trial and error process. We were trying to do something, and we mostly saw mistakes. But, and having a contribution from librarians to create this language together is very important. Sharing the ideas we have about books or books in general, or other people's books, which could be quite unpleasant, and having in return the experiences the librarians have. So I don't know if in Poland does exist something like the magazines published by libraries. In Italy we had one from a library association and one from a trust financing a library not far from Florence. The Library Association magazine doesn't exist anymore, it's only online, but the other one still exists and is very good. And we did produce a lot of materials in the online and in paper by yourself with other publishers to try to create this common language, shared language, which we at the end can share with the people who will use the book, not forgetting about children, but the intellectual level things do happen among adults. So it's in between us, have a shared language to understand better what we are doing.
To ja może
we need to finish soon, so let me just say that I hope it's just the beginning of our activities. We talked many times about common, shared things, so I think it's really important that we all do it together, because each of us is a small organization, but when we are together, we are like those men in the suits. We are really big force, and what we do here also in Poland with other publishers, what Mały Koneser does tomorrow under one roof, you are going to see 28 publishers. It's a small event, but there is a lot of force in it. So I really believe in those events, and I hope that it will be beneficial for not only for us, but for all of you, and I am very happy about it. I would like to keep listening to our guests, but we need to finish, unfortunately, so please give a round of applause to our guests.